Our story today is called The Gift of the Tree by Alvin Tresselt, illustrated by Henri Sorensen. I wonder what it means by the gift of the tree. Is this tree going to give a gift? What kind of gift can the tree give? Let's read it and find out. Oh, Mama Bird's feeding her babies. The Gift of the Tree by Alvin Tresselt, illustrated by Henri Sorensen. It stood tall in the forest. For 100 years or more, the oak tree had grown and spread its shade. What does that mean, spread its shade? Wow, look at all those branches and how far they reach. That must be pretty shady underneath that tree. Birds nestled in its shelter. Squirrels made their homes in ragged bundles of sticks and leaves held high in the branches. And in the fall, they garnered their winter food from the rich rain of acorns that fell from the tree. That squirrel munching on an acorn. Tucked under its gnarled roots, small creatures found safety from the fox and owl. Slowly over the years, the forest soil increased as the brown leathery leaves, shaken down by the autumn winds, moldered under the snow. But even as the tree grew, life gnawed at its heart. What does the word gnawed mean? That's right, to bite or nibble. So even as the tree grew, life gnawed at its heart. Carpenter ants tunneled through the strength of the oak. Termites ate out passageway in wondrous patterns. A broken limb let the dusty spores of fungus enter the heartwood of the tree, and rot spread inside the healthy bark. Is this good for the tree? Carpenter ants, termites, fungus. Year by year, the tree grew weaker as its enemies worked. Each spring, fewer and fewer leaves unfolded, and its great reaching branches turned gray with death. Woodpeckers peppered the limbs with holes, looking for tasty grubs and beetles that tunneled the wood. And here and there, they dug bigger holes to hold their babies. In winter storms, one by one, the great branches broke and crashed to the floor of the forest, until there remained only the proud trunk, holding its broken arms up to the sky. Oh no, what happens to the tree? Now it was autumn, and the days were long and lazy, yellow-gray and misty mornings, midday filled with fall summer warmth, and nights pierced with frost. Look at that tree. And then came a day of hurricane wind and slashing rain. And as the fierce wind shrieked through the forest, the tree trunks split and crashed to the ground. And there it lay shattered, with only a jagged stump to mark where it had stood for so long. Oh no, the poor tree. The cruel days of winter followed. A family of deer mice settled into the hole that had once held an arching branch, and a rabbit found protection from the biting wind in the rotted center of the trunk. And the ants and termites, the dormant grubs and silent fungus, they waited out the winter weather under the bark and deep in the wood. Wait a second. That tree is helping a lot of animals. In the spring, the young sun warmed the forest floor, and acorns sprouted to replace the fallen giant. Now, new life took over the dead tree. The old woodpecker holes made snug homes for chipmunks, and the hollow center of the trunk sheltered a family of raccoons, while beneath the bark spread the wood-eating fungus, ghost white and sulfur yellow. And deep inside, the carpenter ants and the termites continued their digging and eating. On the trunk, where the tree lie, half buried in the damp and musty leaf loom, the mosses stitched a green carpet, softer than the softest wool. Fragile ferns nestled in its shadows. There's the ferns. And mushrooms popped out of the decaying mold. There's those mushrooms. Clumps of creamy white Indian pipes clustered together, drawing nourishment from the rich loom. The years passed, and the hard wood grew soft and punky. It crawled with 100,000 grubs and beetles, centipedes with their scrambling, scurrying legs, and snails and slugs, all fed on the rotting wood. The earthworms made their way through a feast, helping to turn the tree once more into the earth. Pale shell fungus clung to the sides like clusters of giant clam shells, eating away and growing as the tree decayed. A skunk came waddling by with her string of babies. Sniffing at the wood, she ripped into the softness with her claws and uncovered the scrambling life inside. And eagerly the family feasted. Secretive forest birds scratched and picked for grubs and worms, pulling the tree apart bit by bit, while the melting winter snows and soft spring rains hastened the rotting of the wood. And in this way, as new trees grew in strength from the acorns that had fallen long years ago, the great oak returned to the earth. You see that? On the ground there remained only a brown ghost of richer loom where the proud tree had come to rest. The end. So what do you suppose it means by the gift of the tree? What happened to that tree? Well, it started off really tall and big, and it gave some gifts. Do you remember what those gifts were? Yeah, it gave the gift of a home to some birds and squirrels. It fed the squirrels too with the acorns. It gave protection to the tiny little animals from the fox and the owl. And then things started to happen. Limbs started breaking off. Remember, life gnawed at its heart. The termites, the woodpeckers, the fungus. And then winter storms took a lot more branches off, and all that remained was that trunk. And then came the hurricane winds, and it knocked it over. But wait, the tree keeps giving. It gives a home to the mice. And the rabbit found shelter from the cold. Do you remember the raccoons? They also got in there. And the chipmunk too. more and more, the tree started decaying and going back into our earth. But wait, it's still giving more gifts. The skunk came by and tore open those bark of the tree. She got to feed her family, all those grubs and centipedes. And then all that remained was that brown ghost of Richard Loon. So the tree went back into our earth, ready to grow new life from the acorns it created. That tree really did give a lot of gifts.